Hello, 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 hello. Guys, I know. Yeah, it's been a while again. I know. Don't don't come after me for this. Don't come after me for that. Please don't. I'm trying to work it out, guys. I really am. I am trying to figure out how to long to post these videos. I'm trying to figure it out myself. It's really hard. Well, it shouldn't be, but it's hard for me. And it's just, I gotta figure it out. I have to. I really do. And it's just a pain. It's just a pain, you know. You know, this whole YouTube thing is definitely a trial, but it's a worthwhile trial because this is just my creative want. This is my passion. Oh, I love it with all my heart. And I'm going to keep on doing it regardless. So, yeah, just going to keep doing it no matter what because I love it so, so, so much. You know? So, yeah, guys, welcome to another Kia Chat. Another Kia Chat. Hello, hello. This is another Kia Chat episode 4, I think episode 4 of Kia Chat. And today, this Kia Chat, we are talking about my school history, me surviving school, me surviving isolation during my youth, because my youth was definitely a wild one, was definitely the dark the dark passages, the dark times. It was really rough. It was really scary, really terrifying, and I didn't know how I made it. I don't know how I made it to this day. I still don't know. For the grace of the universe, to all of that, my inner strength, my inner strength really helped me through that. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that today. So if you guys stick around, tune in, get your snacks and your little treats. This episode won't be too long, but we'll see how it goes. So, yeah, stay tuned, enjoy, and see how. Hey guys. So, let's get into the video and let's recap what I said in the last Kia chat, and we'll start from there. So, the last Kia chat I was talking about my history and before I moved to Virginia, and how everything was so smooth and how everything was so peaceful and how everything was just nice. It was nothing really bad. Everything was good. It was like a rose colored glass of peace and harmony. The things that I thought was going to happen, all my previsions and how I thought life really was about, it was nothing to what actually came for me. So it was just what I'm going to be talking about in this story is just going to be a tower moment, if you will, of everything that I thought was like going to pan out for my life. So let's get started. So after moving down to Suffolk, Virginia, and moving there for the first few weeks, everything was peaceful, everything was great, harmony, love, because it's like your first time moving to um another, I about to say country, another state, and you never met anybody there besides your family and your cousins, you know. So I was like a little nervous. I was like having butterflies in my stomach, and it really took a lot of like my inner like extrovert to like really like go and see people because I already had a group of friends. So I didn't feel like I had to work a lot to make more friends because I felt like I was already pretty much, back in Albany, I was like the cool kid. I was part of the cool club, the cool friends. I had a lot of great friends in pre-K and stuff like that, backing up in Albany, New York. So coming down here, it was like a fresh, brand new slate. I had really nobody I knew besides family. So it was just like I had to start all over again and making friends. I met Jada. Yes, that was one of my first friends. I was like, "Hey, you want to make you want to be friends with me?" I was wondering, I'm new here. I just came here and I'm friends. Whoa, I ain't cutting that out. Okay. I'm like, hey, I'm new here. You want to be my best friend? And this was all happening during like the evening that we came down here. So it wasn't like a matter of days. It was like immediately like, hey, you want to be friends with me? You want to be my friend? I was very confident, almost to a naivete point, but I was a kid, so what do you expect? But yeah, I was like, you want to be friends? And of course she said, yeah. And then that's how we became friends. And they were my first few friends for a minute. And, after a while, started school. Then I was finished with preschool. So didn't have to do that anymore. So I went straight into like elementary school. And when I first joined elementary school, it was interesting. It was interesting. God, let me remember. Cause it was nice. It was nice. When I first got there, when I first got to the classes that I thought I was gonna be in, everybody was so nice. Everybody was so nice, so kind. But then that kind of crashed down when I realized that this wasn't my class. They told me like, nope, this is not your class. You got to go to another class. And that broke my heart because that was actually going to be, little did I know that was going to be the only like true like feeling of like friendship that I was going to have. Because when I went to the classes that they told me I was supposed to go to, my God, bless my soul. I little did I know that the hell I was going to experience. The kids there, the kids in that class were ruthless. I don't know because of me, my nature. I'm starting to believe now as I'm older and I'm like processing it. It was just me, really just who I am and who I was at the core. It was. It wasn't just like my body because I was still fit. I was still healthy. I was still healthy and fit. It was nothing to do with my weight. My weight now, back then, I was a fit child. I was a fit, healthy, bouncy child. You know, I wasn't fat. I didn't get time to sit around and not do anything yet. I was still fresh as a spring bunny. I still had so much energy and speed to do a lot of things. So it wasn't even my body. I thought it was, but it was just, they were really just the kids were just like so mean to me and an unnatural amount. I didn't know why they were so mean to me and why they acted that way to me. It really hurted my soul. It hurted me to a deep amount that I never thought would hurt me. And I was just so heartated. It really hurted me in more ways than one because I never thought that kids would be that cruel. I was so naive in the sense of like thinking that I was just going to find friends and I was going to be this whole like unity, like friendship, big group. everything like that because that's what I always thought friendship was about. That's what I believed in my little kid heart, and it broke my heart. So that was pretty much how it was throughout the years of being from 5K to 6K, pretty much all the way to my 10th grade. It was just terrible. I was bullied and picked on so much, so much. And it was, of course, yes, my weight was definitely becoming the big factor of it because I wasn't active anymore. I was starting to lose my activity because Albany, there was so many ways to be active up there, to walking, to get to stores. You could walk pretty much to anywhere you need to really go. You could walk all your heart out. You could be fit really easily up in the city. But down here in the South, you really can't walk to places. You have to kind of really drive to get to the places you want to go because there really isn't ways to walk. So there wasn't really a lot ways I could have, we all as a whole family, be active like that. So the weight gain was like starting to come in slowly but surely. And I was definitely getting chubbier throughout the years, getting chubbier and chubbier. And it was more noticeable, and the kids started to notice like crazy and started to pick on me, started to call me the worst names you could even think. Like, whale. I was called a whale. I know now with the fat positivity. Oh, the fat positivity right now. If you know that, the fat positivity, yeah, they would have hacked their necks if this was like today. But back then, yeah, being fat was like the worst sin possible, and you were not treated like a human being. And that even came in the case of elementary school. People treated you so freaking bad for being fat, and especially if you didn't have no backbone to stand up for yourself. I didn't have a backbone because I wasn't used to this. I didn't expect that. It wasn't because I was used to it. I just didn't think that would ever happen to me, and it was just a shocker. In my heart, my light inside of me just did not know how to handle it, and it broke my soul all the time. It really did. And I don't know, it really made me cry some nights. I cried so many times to myself that I didn't tell mom and pop. I didn't tell my dad and my mom. I didn't tell my parents any of that, the stuff that was going on through. The true things, like the stuff that people were saying to me was just cruel, even for like kids. Like, kids shouldn't be like this cruel. Why are these kids so cruel to me? Of all the other kids. And I mean, I've seen some say pretty worse, but it's just the way that they treated me. And I was nice. I was so kind, so loving, just really being my true, authentic me. But people saw that probably and just said that, yeah, we're going to take advantage of that. We're going to use that to our advantage. And they did. And it hurt me so bad. It really hurted me. I hated that. And as the years gone, that hatred, that pain, that sorrow, that resentment to all the people who hurted me built it up so strong, like crazy. It really did hurt a lot. And it just killed me to my core. So, yeah, it was a tough life. I just never thought that it would go that way. People will just, I was so isolated. I really didn't have any friends. And, this story can get long because this is just one half, okay? There's another half of the Boys and Girls Club. The Boys and Girls Club, if you're in America, you understand what the Boys and Girls Club is. But if you're not from America, United States, you probably won't know what that is. But that was a whole hellhole of a story itself. So I don't know if I make a story about that one. I may talk about that in another kid chat, but yeah, for this one, I was so isolated. I was so alone. And the way people, when I did something wrong, when I did something that I didn't know was wrong, they hounded me. They attacked me. They savagely attacked me. Way worse than it should have been. It made no sense how they came at me like that. And sometimes I didn't even do anything. I didn't. I didn't do nothing wrong to some of those kids. And even adults, I felt like I couldn't go to anyone because I felt like nobody was listening to me. I felt alone. I felt so alone and isolated. It was the worst thing possible. It really was. And I hated it with all of my heart. I don't know. It just really broke my whole it really broke my whole world because it just made no sense. It made no sense why they attacked it like that. It really didn't. So I was isolated. I felt like I was talking to brick walls, or I didn't even have the voice to talk to brick walls. Even that, I was suffering on the inside, and I didn't. I was slowly dying. I was slowly putting myself in a box and change. And this is what it was like throughout all of my elementary school years. That was how it was like. Pretty much like my light being put into a box, in a chain box, not to be seen from much of anybody. So, yeah, that was it. So, yeah, guys, this is my elementary